Nice to see you. If you'd been round our gaff that balmy weekend, you'd have heard me ask Lisa yourself. We were squatting on Hume Crescents then. We've been journeying down what you might call one of life's hard pathways for ages. 5 minutes away from us was the Hacienda nightclub, or the Hass, as it got called. Them days, the Manchester acid house scene in there was full on. Some months before, I'd been released from prison. While I was away, they cut our electricity off. So I booted in the door of a vacant flat on the 4th floor. Problem solved. I bought loads of speed because I wanted to mark the occasion of just being freed. Speed always brought them hidden talents out of me. Like my super creative handyman skills. No job was too big or small. You get me? Lisa, I'm going to make our new place ace. So the vibes like down the ass. The council had boarded up the windows, but I left it like that to block out the light. I painted 2 massive industrial lines on the boards outside, same as those that were across the beams on the ass's dance floor. I put them across all the doors inside too. I pinned a big smiley face up on the living room wall. I got some wood out of a skip and made a shelf out of it to put my second-hand hi-fi separates on. And before long, them handyman skills of mine had kicked right in, like proper peaking. Because by then, there's nothing I couldn't make with a hammer, a saw, and a high-speed Black & Decker drill. So do you know what I did? I got busy building a set of beefy-sounding speakers. I got the bass units, flare downs, and bullet tweeters from Maplin. Well, to be honest with you, a shoplifter did. I got the materials for the speaker boxes from in the kitchens of empty flats. I hammered out 12 countertops. You should have seen them when they were done. They were 5 foot tall and nearly as deep. Because the more depth you have, the more bass you get. So you feel that Gale 4 swing type bass in your face. I got so much into house music that bit by bit, I bagged some home studio recording kit and started making it myself. It sounded well ropey. It came to the point where I'd been celebrating getting out of prison for 274 days and nights. I've never done things by halves. Then that balmy weekend landed. There was a buzz down the ass and we was in our gaff. And you can guess I was caught up in the music. So my head was bobbing away, locked into a groove that I'd made on my 808 drum machine. To be fair, I'd been locked into that same groove for a fortnight. You should have seen me look like a pulsating mad scientist with a bucket hat on. Next minute, who do you think you are there, you faffing around on that music? Did you hear that then, Lise? Hear what? That woman shouting, it came from outside. Didn't hear anyone shouting, Baz. Your head must be going. She was right. Because in no time flat, I was hearing loads of shouts coming from everywhere. In fact, after a bit, my head went that much, I finished up on a psychiatric ward. And there wasn't anything they could do. Because my head was so far gone. Talk about our pathways, man. Mine couldn't have become more brutal. How about yours? I don't think for a minute it's always been dead cushy, has it? Because I'm sure that along the way, there's been stages when we've all found ourselves journeying down one of life's hard pathways. Ain't that the truth? Did you know that there's a man in the Bible who made music too? He was a real maestro, though, not like me. He put this lyric to a tune. This is something he figured out way back when. even the hard pathways overflow with abundance, which refers to them getting food in places where they didn't expect it. What can we figure out from our hard pathways for now then? How about we go take a gander? To get going, hard pathways don't have to set your limits. Raise your hand if you drive a car. Have you ever done more than 30 in a 30 zone? Or more than 40 in a 40 zone? Or even more than 70 in a 70 zone? You rebel, you. Have you ever been flashed by a speed camera and had points put on your license? Have you ever totted up that many points that you got banned? Join the club. The club that I'm a gold member of, because it's happened to me not once, not twice, but 3 times. Raise your hand if you don't feel as guilty now. One time before I got banned, I used what you might call a workaround that we did when it was paper licenses. Do you remember them? Before I went to court, I reported that I'd lost my license and ordered a duplicate. So that when they took mine off me, I had another one to use. That's one way to dodge a driving ban. If you were good at playing innocent, this was perfect for those times for when you got pulled over and they asked to see your license. Unless they radioed in, that is, then you'd have to do a different workaround. Like bomb it off around the copper's car in front of you. Nowadays, though, I use a legit workaround to dodge a ban. I press the speed limiter button in my car. Just shows you how reformed I am. Have you ever heard of them? I hadn't until I got my most recent car. Of course, you can drive with it off, but because I do like loads and loads of miles, I often have mine turned on, especially when I'm doing my big trips. The way that it works is that there's a sensor in the middle of the windscreen at the top that picks up the speed limits from the signs on the side of the road, which sends a signal to the engine to control it. So say I drive through a 30, a 40, or a 70 zone and the likes. I can't go above them since the limiter in my car has been set at those limits to keep me back. It's just like us, this, you know. Because sometimes those tough times we go through can set those limits on us that keep us back. Maybe this has happened to you. Listen, hard pathways don't have to set your limits. A bloke in the book of books, Paul, he'd had a tough time or two. But with God pitching in, he was able to say, I've forgotten what is behind me and I press hard to what is ahead of me. This was Tina, my wife's take on it too. Tina's slim, loyal, and from South London. Her beginnings were pretty tough. But this didn't set limits on her. She got a degree. She became a manager. And to top them off, she got to marry me. So she's defo not been kept back then. What about you? Maybe you got off to a bad start. Maybe you've been hurt dead deep by somebody you've trusted. Maybe you found yourself in a dark place and this has set limits on you. Look, whatever has done that to you, just know that God can do what's needed to take those limits off you. This is what you might call his kind of workaround. And unlike mine, his kind is always 100% legit. Listen, hard pathways don't have to set your limits. That balmy weekend had landed. There was a buzz down the ass and we was in our gaff. Did you hear that then, Lise? Hard pathways don't have to set your limits. And to add to that, hard pathways can be the making of you. You had to be near those stack chairs in the corner of that chapel to catch what Chappie said to me. It was August 23. And as per during that month, I was down south in London doing a bunch of jails. One of them is a well-known Victorian-type prison in central London that I've been speaking in for a while. This time round, though, they planned for me to do 2 groups. One was the regular prisoners, and the other was the lads from the recovery wing, which was a first for me in there. The first session was dead informal. We just sat round tables that had been set up like in an horseshoe shape, so we were facing each other. I just did a short talk about some of the mad days I've been through as a way of setting things up for a conversation so we could go deeper. When we got chatting, it turned out that some of them got right into it. I think that's why they come, if you know what I'm saying. One of them had grey locks, green eyes, and silver-rimmed glasses on. He did most of the talking. Then there was a stocky Polish guy who had a scar on his face. He chipped in quite a bit as well. And then there was a young black lad who was a proper thinker. He came out with some right pearlers. You should have heard the chatter that day. There was more wisdom flying around than there is at Oxford University. Them debating bods there with their criminology PhDs. Nothing on these. Trust me. But there was one serious-faced, mixed-raced, older boy sat there who stayed silent. This was Chappie, the chapel orderly. When we finished, everybody went back to the wings apart from him. He went and started unstacking chairs to get set up for the next lot that were coming in because they were expecting a bigger group. So I went over to help. How you doing, mate? Doing all right, thanks, Baz. Gutted to be back in here, though. I'm in for a smash and grab this time on a jeweller's in the East End. Why, what happened, man? Well, when I got out last time, my mum got ill and I owed her. So I nicked a car and went on a spree, even though I was trying to keep on the straight and narrow. And they got me, man, didn't they? Then he goes, do you know before when you lot was batting stuff about, I just stayed stum. I always do. But what I wanted to say, if you'd not been through all that madness, you couldn't do what you're doing now. Because it's like all that has shaped you, man. And it, do you know, I doubt if he could have said anything more true. Listen, listen, listen. Our pathways can be the making of you. That bloke, he would had a tough time or two. He wrote this when he was in a jail in Rome. Trouble produces endurance. And endurance produces character. And character produces hope. For me, once God pitched in, this became massive. So how's it with you? Maybe you're going through something right now. Maybe you've been through a few rough times and patches back when. It could be that there's been some shaping going on for something you could do. Who knows? Hard pathways can be the making of you. That balmy weekend had landed. There was a buzz down the ass and we was in our gaff. Did you hear that then, Lise? Hard pathways don't have to set your limits. They can be the making of you, and hard pathways can get changed up. Let me take you to that time. One morning when I was sat with Ali McPhee. Because that's when he told me about the journey he'd been on and how he's seen this happen firsthand. This is how he put it. I was born on the south side of Glasgow, Baz. As a kid, even though I knew I was loved, there was always chaos in the background because my dad was a bit of a gangster. He kept guns and knives in the house, and there was always lots of drinking going on. When I was 5, my mum and dad got divorced. So I went to live with my gran and granddad, who lived next door in the flats on the top floor. I really struggled at school, and I was constantly getting into trouble. The teachers would tell me, you're never going to change. You're a waste of space. You're never going to amount to anything. I hated it, Baz. So I used to bunk off and go to the arcades in town. It was in my last year of secondary school when I got into football, and it was absolute bedlam. Drinking, fighting, looting shops and stuff. The first time I smoked hash was in my mate's house. That night, we got into a fight outside the mini market, and I got stabbed twice in the leg and lost 2 pints of blood. I was 17 when the rave scene started, Baz. I had my first day in Furry Murray's nightclub. I loved it. I ended up selling them. I sold E's and weed. I did a bit of fraud too. Then I started taking heroin, and then I got into crack. That brought me to my knees quicker than Brown did, though. It's like, for me, Baz, I'd gone down this pathway, and things just kept getting more and more chaotic. Then, I was in my mate's flat once, and there was a Bible on the table. So I picked it up and opened it, and some of the words jumped out. It's like God was saying to me, these were written for you, Ali. That same week, I met this Christian guy, and he prayed for me. And I felt this peace. It's as if that I knew that everything was going to be all right. And then Ali said to me, and after that, it's like the life I was living got changed up. I came off heroin and crack without any withdrawals. I went back into education and got a professional accountancy qualification. My parents had recently passed away. Then I read in the Bible that God can restore things for us. I really struggled with that, Baz, to be honest. I thought, how's he going to restore that? But then I met Claire, and I realized that this was God restoring my family circle. Because when we got married, her mum and dad became my mum and dad. They're like the parents I've always wanted. And I've got friends now, the kind I used to wish for, but before I could never have, because of the life that I was living. People trust me these days as well, Baz. And I've got a load of responsibilities. Then he reeled them off to me. He's an accountant for an housing association. He's on different management committees. He's a trustee for a charity called The Walk in England. He's even got his own accountancy business set up as a side hustle. And more recently, he started speaking in jails and stuff. And then he went, I never imagined that I could achieve all that I've achieved. Do you see what's doable with God pitching in? Listen, our pathways can get changed up. Someone in the Bible who'd once been a fighter but was now getting on in years said this to God when he was up against it. Though you've allowed me to see troubles, many and bitter, you will restore my life. What about the pathway you've gone down? Have you ever been told you're never going to change? You're a waste of space. You're hopeless. Have you got things in your life that need to be restored? Maybe you've never imagined what you could achieve. Listen, our pathways can get changed up. That balmy weekend had landed. There was a buzz down the ass and we was in our gaff. Did you hear that then, Lise? Our pathways don't have to set your limits. They can be the making of you. They can get changed up. And alongside these, our pathways are where you can begin again. Just imagine for a minute that you're lying on a single bed in a 6x4 room in a hostel. You've got a portable telly on the table next to you, and you're that brassic, you can only afford 2 channels. On and off. And you're in there because you've had to leave your own town rapid since it's been deemed too unsafe to stay. For you anyway, because there's a local crew after you. Not the best spot to find yourself in, is it? Well, I was in it. In it. And if you want to know more about that era of my life, it just so happens that there's some books outside that door. Once an addict, when them books came out in 2007, we started a project to give a copy of that to every person in jail throughout the UK. We've sent 55,000 copies of that book out for free. And there's one small way you can support that. If you buy one, we will send 2 into prisons. So you're paying for 3. And there's some other stuff. There's some DVDs. A lot of people don't use DVDs anymore, but actually you can download the content onto your phone or any device, watch it online, download the MP4 file. So we've made it that you can watch them on anything. All the proceeds that goes into that box or comes in through the little reader that I've got out there goes into the charity that I run, and it's earmarked for the work we do in jails. I'm going to be in Park Tuesday, and then I'm all over. I think I've done 19 jails already this year throughout the UK. We don't get any funding from the jails to do that, so we have to be creative and where that finance comes from. It costs us £23,000 to do our prisons work, just to give you an idea. So that's just one small way that you can support that, okay? On the day that I had to do that quick getaway, I went into a phone booth in Manchester Victoria train station and picked up the yellow phone directory. Do you remember them? A side note for you young ones, this is where we used to get our contact numbers from. Before Yahoo, Bing, or Google. H, hostels. SSS, Salvation Army. Salvation Army. Rochdale. That'll do. 01706, beep, 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 beep. I'd stayed in hostels before, so I knew the score. And this one proved to be decent. Everyone in there was all right, apart from Minging Feet Mike. It was a young kid with yellow teeth who was dead cocky. And he absolutely, you could smell him from miles away. His room was just across from mine. One afternoon, I was lying on my bed just chilling. Then, ice, ice, baby, ding, diddle, ding, 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 ding. Ice, ice, baby, ding, diddle, ding, 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 ding. And it was really loud. It was coming from Minging Feet Mike's. Knock, knock, knock. He opened his door. Mate, will you just turn it down a bit? Nice one. Go back in, mine. And then, ice, ice, baby. Even louder. So I jumped up. Bang, bang, bang. Turn your music down. Go back into mine, try to stay calm. Seconds later, vanilla ice, ice, baby. Oh, if you don't know who Vanilla Ice is a rubbish white rapper who's so bad, it tipped even Mother Teresa over the edge. Right, that's it, I'll give him some Vanilla Ice. I jumped up, bang, bang, bang. He opened his door just a bit, so I barged in, battered him, grabbed hold of his ghetto blaster. If you won't turn it down, smash, 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 I will. That's what I think of your Vanilla Ice. Smash, 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 baby. Once I was sure I'd muted his music, like Smash to Smithereens sure, I went back into mine. Oh, that's better. Nice and quiet. 5 minutes later, my door goes. It's Colin, my project worker. I'm going to have to ask you to leave now. Why, Colin? Because you just beat the living daylights out of Mike. That's why he's in a right state downstairs. He'd only gone down and grassed me up, hasn't he? I felt like sniffing him out to find him so I could give him more aggro. But I just decided to go. Do you know, even though Colin showed me the door, I didn't mind him. Because he was straight talking, big-hearted. And he was always fair with us. Actually, these days, he's the manager of a Salvation Army hostel. And he books me to speak in it every year. I was in not long back. Before I spoke, he gets up and says to everybody, it's always good to have Barry in, because we go way back to when he was a resident in another hostel that I worked at. In fact, I had to kick him out. Then he goes, he hit rock bottom. But then he started over. And I can vouch for him. Listen, hard pathways are where you can begin again. The first truth that I learned out of the Bible, which was also when God took all that shouting away, was, I am a new creation. The old has gone and the new has come. You see, 2,000 years ago, 2,000 miles away, God, that God who flung the stars into space, God who spoke the universe into being, he put skin on. He became a man. His name is Jesus. And he came to this earth. And he was tempted, just like you, just like me. But he resisted temptation. And at the age of 33, he let them nail him to a cross. See, he journeyed down his own hard pathway. So he knows, you know. But he ended up hanging up there. That was for you, though. Because he died on that cross to pay the price for your faults, for your flaws, and for your failures. He stood in so that you can begin again. But before that can take place, it falls on you to give the okay. When you drive lots of miles like I do, I found that taking little breaks does you good. From time to time, when I'm home, I'll use trams and taxis to change my rhythm, which helps me chill a bit. And it reduces the risk of getting band number 4. Getting flashed by camera. Not long ago, me and Tina went to a restaurant for an early tea. That means dinner if you're posh. We got a taxi there, had some food and got a taxi back. We got out and rushed to the front door because it was shutting down. I've not got my keys, T. Oh, check all your pockets, Barry. They're not there. She wasn't happy. It was our anniversary as well. So you can imagine, that didn't help. Rang the restaurant, no keys. Rang the taxi firm, no keys. So then I rang the local housebreaker. Not the criminal kind. The legal kind. Them that are DBS checks and who pay the taxes. While I was chatting, Tina gets on her phone. Are you sure the drivers have found no keys? Can you ask them to check again, please? After waiting in the wet for what seemed like a week, the local legal housebreaker turns up with his drill. We're stood behind him, absolutely drenched. He's just about to start drilling. Tina's phone goes, hello? That'd be brilliant, fantastic, stop! They found him. You should have seen how relieved we were when that taxi guy came and passed us those keys. Whoo! When we got in, we looked like 2 drowned rats with puffer jackets on. Happy anniversary, Tina. I'll leave it to you lot to come up with a reply. Look, God won't call the local legal housebreaker up to drill the lock on your door so that he can get in. Because he'd rather hold on for you. There's a picture of him in the good book being at your door. You see, he just hangs around there, man, dead patient like. Waits for you. to give the okay and say, here's my key. Listen, our pathways are where you can begin again, but it falls on you to give the okay. So I'm going to round this off now at the place where we sat out. That squat on the bull rings, our new place that I'd made Ace. It was a Friday. I was caught up in the music, locked into a groove that I've been locked into for ages. Next minute, who do you think you are? There you. Talk about our pathways, man. Mine have got brutal. And I'm sure that along the way there's been stages when we've all found ourselves journeying down one of these. So I've just taken a gander at them to figure out some thoughts for now. Please stand. No going outside for a smoke just yet. Clyde. Listen up. Listen up. Listen up. Right now, God wants to pitch in. He's at your door, but you need to give the okay and say, here's my key. I'm going to pray a prayer. I'm going to invite 2 groups of people in this room to pray this prayer with me, the first group. Those people in this room, you have never given God your key before. It could be that you believe in God, but you've never given him the key so that he can get in. It could be that you're struggling with God for whatever reason. You've got a beef with him. That happens. Give him the key and see what happens. It could be that you're searching for God, but you've not given God the key so that he can get in. It could be that you've been brought by somebody and you didn't know what to expect. You're here for a reason. Give God the key so that he can get in. The first group, those people in this room, you've never given God your key. You've never given him the key so that he can come in. And the second group of people are those people who at some point in the past, you've given God your key. He's had access to your life, but recently you've closed the door and you've shut him out. Give him the key again. 2 groups of people, those who have never given God the key. You've never given him access. And those who have given him access, but you've shut him out, you're going to pray this prayer so that he can get back in. And everybody else, you make up the third group. You're going to pray it to encourage the first group and the second group. Are we ready? All 3 groups repeat after me. Dear God, I come to you today and I admit that I'm not perfect. God, I ask that you forgive me for my faults, for my flaws, and for my failures. And God, I thank you for standing in for me so that I can begin again. And right now, I give you my key so that you can gain entry. I want you to pitch in, take off any limitations, and help me change things up. While our heads are bowed, if you prayed that prayer, you're part of the first group or the second group. Put up your hands if you prayed that prayer so I can see it. First group or the second group. Got 1 at the back. Anybody? 2. Keep your hands up so I can see it. Keep your hands up so I can see it. Keep your hands up, keep your hands up. If you're part of the first group or the second group, we've got 1, got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got you there? 8. Put your hands down. There's more in this room who's prayed that prayer. 8 people, you put up your hands already. There's more. I'm going to say this. Park your pride outside. Put it in your pocket. Put it in your jacket. Put it in your handbag. Get your pride out of the way. I'm going to count down 10 seconds, and the rest of you who's prayed that prayer, who's part of the first group or the second group, you're going to put up your hands. Don't miss this opportunity. This is your day. I'm going to count down 10 seconds. If you've not raised your hand already and you're part of the first group or the second group, can you raise it so I can see it? 10. 1. Another 1 at the back. Thank you. Anybody else? Another 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more. Keep your hands. 6. 7. Another 7. As I keep counting down. Another 7. Put your hands down. 8. Another 8. Anybody else as I keep counting down? 9. 8. Anybody else? Park your pride outside. 7. Another 1. Got you before. Anybody else? 6. Got you one over here. Brilliant. Thank you. Anybody else? As I count down. 5. 4. Park your pride outside. This could be the beginning, the best beginning you've been waiting for. Anybody else? Raise your hand so I can see you're part of the first group or the second group. Got you there before? Thank you. One at the back, thank you. 3, 2, anybody else? 1. About 17 people have raised their hands. I'm going to count to 3. On the point of 3, you're going to leave your seats. All those who raise your hands, if you prayed the prayer, you're part of the first group or the second group, and you didn't raise your hand, you're going to leave your seats. You're going to walk through the door that you came in through there. On the other side of there, someone's going to come and meet you. I've brought some packs with me. I take these packs wherever I go. Inside those packs, there's a little booklet that's been wrote by a friend of mine called J. John, a Christian guy. That's for you to take home with you to read. There's also a card in that pack with a QR code on. When you get to a space, wherever that space may be, home, room, whatever, if you've got a phone, scan that code. If you've not got a phone, catch somebody who's got a phone and sit with them. Or borrow the phone, but don't nick it. Get a phone, scan that QR code, and then that will take you to a video, and I carry on. What did I do next after praying that prayer? I'll give you some keys to the beginning of my journey, which has helped me get where I am now. Big time. So, 17 people raise their hands. There might even be more of you. There was a few that were up and down, but anyway, 17 is fine. I'm going to count to 3 on the point of 3. You're all going to leave your seats, and you're going through there. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You go now as quickly as you can. You go now. Let's give them a massive round of applause. Let's give them a massive round of applause as they go. That's fantastic. Brilliant. 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 You keep going. You keep going. If there's somebody in your way, just push past them gently so you can get out. Yeah, if somebody's in your way, if somebody wants to get past you, just let them through. That's fantastic. Brilliant.